Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Goodbye, Mr. Knight.
Welcome, Seeker. You must be the one Dr. John called me about.
I guess so. My name is...
Wait? Gabriel Knight?
You're too quick for me.
Actually, Dr. John told me. You have come to the right place, Mr. Knight. Tell me how I can help.
The Moonbeam residence looks like a cross between a voodoo temple and a Victorian fortune teller's parlor, by way of Haight Street. A large, sluggish snake rests on the floor of the fancy bird cage. Apparently, Magenta is not a fastidious housekeeper. A shed skin shares the cage with its original owner. Magenta Moonbeam is wrapped in gauze and silks. She looks vaguely mysterious and mysteriously vague. It's a large cluster of quartz crystals.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Much of a voodoo yen's work is protecting her clients from the spell of others. I make special protective gree-gree to be worn in secret. They keep evil spells from working against my clients.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
The recipes for voodoo charms have been handed down from master to apprentice for centuries.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I have told you all it is proper for you to know, Monsieur Knight.
What can you tell me about...
I have told you all it is proper for you...
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Why, that has nothing to do with me and my clientele. But I can tell you that you should stay as far from it as possible. There is badness there. Very bad.
So you don't think the voodoo aspects of the case are fake?
Fake? Let me tell you about fake. If I get information through the grapevine and make use of it, is that fake? No, that is part of a voodoo yen's power. If people don't believe, there is not much I can do. But if they do believe, that is a part of my power too. But there are things, monsieur, things not even a little bit fake, I can tell you. Believe it or not, but stay away from it.
What do you mean? Do you know something about the case?
I work hard on fine-tuning my spiritual antenna, Monsieur Knight, and I get a clear signal from that direction. Beware.
What do you mean?
I work hard on fine-tuning my spiritual antenna, Monsieur Knight, and I get a clear signal from that direction. Beware.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It is a fascinating city with many dark secrets.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
It is my favorite place in the world.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the wrong hands. I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
Tell me more about snakes.
Oh, I wouldn't want to give away my trade secrets.
Tell me more about snakes.
Oh,
Do you have any idea what Caprice sans cœur means?
no. No, I don't.
Do you have any idea? Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, yes. She was the first of the great voodoo queens.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
She ruled voodoo in New Orleans for 100 years, they say.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I'm sure a historian could help you with that, if you want to know more.
Tell me about yourself.
Yes? What would you like to hear?
How'd you get into this business?
I trained in the voodoo arts for many years with the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Who's she?
You have never heard of her? For shame! I can see you know little of the world of magic.
I'm beginning to get that impression, yes. What kind of people come to see you?
Seekers after the truth, such as yourself.
Do you do anything else?
I am a voodoo yen, and that is plenty. It takes much spiritual effort.
How many voodoo yens are there?
No one knows exactly. Many practice in secret. There are probably hundreds. But of course the level and the power of the voodoo yens differ greatly, depending on their training and natural gifts.
Tell me anything at all.
I haven't always lived in New Orleans. I came here from Kansas as a young woman.
Tell me anything at all.
I began studying voodoo more than 20 years ago. I am well versed in the magical art.
Tell me anything at all.
Many non-believers come to me. They are usually believers when they leave.
Tell me anything at all.
Dr. John sends me many seekers such as yourself.
Tell me anything at all.
I am happy here with my clientele and my snake.
Tell me anything at all.
I haven't always lived in New...
I can't...
Very well.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Where'd you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
I only know what the spirits tell me. Monsieur, I am sure they know better than we.
How'd you learn to handle Grimwald?
I told you a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Ah, fascinating. Would you consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
No, I couldn't do that. You might do some gree-gree of your own, no? One must be very careful with such things. Hair clippings, nail parings, and snake scale.
Are you sure you wouldn't consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
I told you I couldn't do that.
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be Swell.
I won't make you wait, Monsieur Knight. No matter what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
There. Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it. Could I ask you a few more questions?
Certainly. What about her?
Tell me anything at all.
Well, you have to be careful when handling a snake. They're more delicate than they look.
I'll bet. Tell me anything at all.
Many people are afraid of snakes. Isn't that silly?
Totally. Tell me anything at all.
Snakes shed their skins from time to time. You have to be especially careful of them when they're shedding.
I'll keep it in mind. Tell me anything at all.
Grimwald is very responsive to vibration. She doesn't recognize her name, but if I stomp 3 times, she looks right at me.
Tell me anything at all.
Well, you have to be careful when handling a snake. They're more delicate than they look.
I'll bet. Nothing, never mind.
All right.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
All right. Here's an old one. Take a lodestone and some brimstone to a crossroads at midnight. Light the brimstone with a match, and a spirit will come and give you advice in gambling.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
Here's an old hoodoo Dr. Gree-Gree. Place a dime under your client's tongue, and if the client is under a spell of any kind, the dime will turn black.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
To send someone away, take a rotten egg and write that person's name on it 9 times. You can also write on it where you want to send that person to. Take it and throw it against his door at midnight.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
Here's a nasty one. To kill someone, get a sock or a shoe that belongs to that person. Put graveyard dirt in it and bury it under their front steps.
Does that work?
I don't know. I never tried it.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
To ensure the safety of your child, cut a lock of its hair while it is still a baby and keep it with you. The child must have all its hair before it can die.
These are interesting.
They're very old. The Gree-Gree that I prepare is much more powerful, I can assure you, but I don't give out those secrets.
Give me an example of a gris-gris.
All right.
Well, I guess I'll be gone now.
Do what you will if it harm none.
Count on it.